beautiful people. I am thrilled about this specific video because it is going to be the first of a new series and it is interactive. Oh, I'm thrilled. So how it's going to work is each month I am going to do goal setting videos, and these videos are going to be more interactive. And what I mean by that is I am going to ask a series of questions, and then you all can pause and write your answers to those questions. And then at the end of the video, I will answer those questions for myself as well, so we can do it together. Now, this isn't a goal setting for 2022 yet, but it is a reflection and review, which is super important when we goal set, to see where we were, how far we've come, and really make note of lessons that we've learned along the way. So let's do this, shall we? In this video, we are going to cover 3 topics: personal growth, finance, and business and career. On my website, so I will have a link in the description box down below, but on my website you can find a downloadable PDF that has questions for several different areas of our lives, and that's important. So feel free to go there and download it. It's free. It's wonderful. I'm excited. Okay, let's do this. Personal growth question number 1. Take a look back at the goals you set for this year. How well have you accomplished them? Question number 2. What did you excel in this year? Question number 3. What did you struggle in this year? Question number 4. How well did you take care of yourself this year? Question number 5. What was your biggest struggle this year, and how did you handle it? Financial review questions. What are some poor financial decisions that you made this year? What are some great financial decisions that you made this year? On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate your personal finances this year? What are your money goals for next year, and how do you plan to achieve them? What was the most worthy investment of your money or time this year? Business or career review questions. Does your job reflect your core values? What mistakes have you made this year, and what lessons did you learn from them? What do you love most about your job? Okay, so now I am going to answer the questions that I just asked you guys, and I'm kind of nervous, to be honest, just because there was a lot, I think, that happened, but that's why we do a yearly review, right? So for I am going to be looking down at my notes because there's a lot that's happened. So if you see me looking down, that's why. Okay, personal growth, question number 1. Take a look back at the goals you set for this year. How well have you accomplished them? I feel like this is such a big question for me, and there's a lot that goes into it because at the beginning of 2021, I was planning on returning back to Vietnam in April, and all of that happened. But initially, when I started planning 2021, I had 2 major categories that I was really focusing on: my personal life and my financial life. And I really wanted to make strides in both of those. As time progressed throughout the year, I realized I needed to add a 3rd category, which was business, because there were so many different things that I was doing because things changed than what I originally thought that they were going to do. Initially, I had about 33 goals, and for the 3 different categories in total. And going back and looking, I completed 6 of them. But after the 6th one, that's when I really had to pivot and change things because I was not going back to Vietnam. And so what's really cool is I was able to like accomplished a lot more, but here are some of the goals that I got done. I was consistent in uploading to YouTube and posting blog posts 3 times a week. I bought a car. I worked through some tough stuff, like really tough stuff. Emotionally, mentally, physically, I'm very, very thankful that I was able to like work through all of that. And honestly, working through tough things is still a work in progress from a mental perspective, but as far as my health, I'm doing much better. I got over COVID. I became debt free. I took courses and invested in myself. I launched my website, which I've kind of had for a while, but really hadn't put an effort into putting it out there to the world. And so I did that, which was a big step. Um, I launched my business, one of 3 of them. I completed all the legal stuff and opened bank accounts and got all of that squared away. Oof, I'm so proud of myself. And then I started getting back on my feet financially from when I had COVID. So it's super interesting because I became debt free, got COVID, and then I got more debt. So I'm back on my debt free journey. I read 6 books that were on my 2021 reading list, and I read 5 books that were not on that reading list. And I updated my website, and I personally think it looks fabulous. Go and check it out. There's a link in the description box, and leave a comment and let me know what you guys think. There are a ton more things, but I'm going to stop there. Those were my big wins for 2021. Question number 2. What did you excel at this year? I excelled at building my relationships with my family and doing personal development, which is huge. I'm very proud of myself. Question number 3. What did you struggle with this year? I struggled with loss. I had a lot of loss and I grieved a lot this year. I lost friends, really close friends. I lost, unfortunately, relationships with people that I was really close to. And unfortunately, I also had relationships with family members that were tainted. And it just, I learned a lot from it because sometimes, like, I can want to fix something so bad, but in a relationship, it takes 2 people. And when the other person doesn't want to fix it or doesn't want to come to a common ground, that's really hurtful. And I decided that I just have to accept it, because there are a lot of other factors that go into that. And it's not saying the relationship is completely lost. It's just, or that the relationship is over per se. It's because they're family. It's never going to be over, but it's definitely shifted. And it's like, it's there, but it's not a quality relationship. And I think the loss of the closeness and the quality was really, really hard. How well did you take care of yourself this year? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, I'm really sad to say I feel like I would give myself a 4.5. Not very well. My health was up and down, and it was up and down because I would give so much and pour into so many different relationships, but it was at the expense of myself. That was like it was a really good lesson that I learned. I'm very thankful that I learned it, but it was really hard at the same time. I just realized that whether it's friends or family or people that I thought were friends, that's what I really should say. People that I thought were friends, it didn't turn out to be that way. And I realized that there are like that I put myself in harm's way to pour into other people. And in that process, like, I really could have died. Question number 5. What was your biggest challenge this year and how did you handle it? I would say my biggest challenge this year was the month of August. Oh my gosh. August was rough, okay? In August, I have to look at my notes because it was wild. In August, I got COVID. My hair started falling out, so I had to shave my head. I had to mourn the loss of friends and friendships. I had some friends that have passed, and I had friends that just chose not to be in my life, and that was really hard because it was just like one after the other. I had to mourn the loss of family, and then I had to mourn the loss of other relationships, and those relationships were the ones that I realized where I'm putting myself in harm's way because I care about you, but that's not reciprocated. Truly, it was made very clear I was an inconvenience, and that was so hurtful. Yeah, that sucked. And again, it's loss, right? Because like I came to this realization, and the friendship that I thought I had wasn't there, and it was like I didn't realize that I like would have to really process and grieve that because I thought it was there, but it wasn't. Anyway, that was hard. How did I handle all of this? A lot of prayer. A lot of prayer. God and I became very close. I mean, I like to think that I have a good relationship with God. It can always improve, but I was doing a lot of praying and a lot of praise and worship and processing through a lot of things. I had to get rest. So physically, I was resting and recouping from COVID. That was also intense. And then I did a lot of journaling and therapy. I found a good therapist. I started processing and working through things with someone that was completely removed from the situation and someone that could help me focus and look at things in a different light, in a safe space where I could let out the emotions that I needed to let out without fear of judgment, without fear of people telling me I shouldn't think that or say that or whatever. You know, it was just in a very safe space and being able to process all of that and move forward. So that's how I handled August, the biggest challenge of this year. Okay, next section, financial reflection and review. What are some poor financial decisions that you've made this year? I think there are a few, but my big one, which I'm totally guilty of, is overspending. I love to give gifts and I love to show people that I'm paying attention and I'm listening, and I do that via gifts. And sometimes those gifts are little trinkets, and other times they're like really big things, like coordinating my entire family to go down to visit people, you know. Anyway, I overspend money, and that is definitely not a great financial decision. The next one is I bought my car. So I needed a car, just everything that was going on, and we have like, there's the car. My mom has been letting me use her car, which is wonderful, but there was just a lot of different things happening when I bought my car in September, but I bought it out of necessity and like, I need a car, I need it right now, and it wasn't something that I loved. So I guess with buying my car, which is a big purchase, I have buyer's remorse. However, it's not the end of the world because I can always just sell it, you know? And then the other one is getting back into credit card debt. That was not my intention at all. Thankfully, it's not a lot. But between having COVID, not working, getting sick, and dealing with other health issues, I really had to prioritize my physical health and my mental well-being. And that really meant just like resting and not feeling guilty about it. And so I just that's how I ended up in credit card debt. But I'm much better now, and so we're gonna knock it out. Question number 2. What are some great financial decisions that I made this year? I'm excited about this. I'm very proud of myself, actually. First, I was very consistent in acquiring and buying tangible assets. So there are 3 big tangible assets that I think everybody should purchase at some point in time or another. But silver, gold, and real estate. And this year I was really consistent in purchasing some of those tangible assets. My big one is going to be real estate. I'm excited for this. Next, I invested in myself, in my dreams, and my future. Like, such a good investment. I mean, if you're going to bet on someone, bet on yourself, right? And good things were coming, guys. I'm excited. I spent money on the people that I love. So that one is it was a poor financial decision, but it was also a good financial decision because when I love, I enjoy giving and spending on people, and it's a happy place for me. Next, after I purchased my car, which I wasn't in love with, it really hit me that I needed to be more intentional with my finances. And since then, I have been very intentional, and I really enjoy it. Even when I am just spending money on people that I love, but I'm intentional with it, and I find so much peace and freedom in that with being intentional. And then the last thing that I did that I think was really great is I jumped my financial credit score. Ugh. For those of you that are not in the United States, I feel like it's something that is pretty common around the world, but in the United States we have what's called a credit score, and it is it's a number between 350 and 800, and it tells lenders and credit card companies and all financial institutions how likely it is that you will borrow money and pay it back. And so mine was okay, but I had been out of the country. I was overseas. And so it wasn't horrible, but I definitely jumped it up. So now I am primo. I'm excited. Question number 4. From 1 to 10, how would I rate my personal finances? I would say I'm like a 5.5. I definitely know where I could be, and I'm not there, which is why I gave myself a 5.5. But I also know what happened. Life happens, you know? So I ended up using my emergency fund, and I ended up acquiring credit card debt. And so it's okay. I know how I got there. I know how to change that around and improve my financial situation. And I learned a lot in that time. And I know how to rebuild. I got out of consumer debt and before, so I can do it again. And I have a game plan. So I feel really good about that. I feel like at the end of next year, we'll be singing a different tune. This is question number 4. What are your money goals for next year? How do you plan on achieving them? So I'm going to answer this in detail in another video. However, I will tell you one of my big goals is to get back on track financially. And what that means is staying 1 month ahead on all of my bills and my monthly expenses, saving phases. I have 4 phases to my emergency fund, and I want to save phases 1 through 3 by the end of next year. And then I want to make sure that I fully fund all of my sinking funds. Those are the big 3. And so I think not only is it doable, but it's going to be a lot of fun. That's what I think. Question number 5. What was the most worthy investment of my time or money this year? And I would say myself. I learned a lot, and it took me a while to get there, but honestly, investing in my mental health, my education, and my priorities has been so beneficial for me as far as my personal growth, as far as me being able to, create content, as far as me being able to relate to other people, prioritizing myself and making sure that I am putting myself first, not in a selfish way, but that I'm investing in myself and I'm taking care of myself, is not only benefiting me now, but it's going to also benefit me and my family and the people that I love in the future as well. I think I'm the best investment. All right, now we're going to focus on business or career review questions. Does your job reflect your core values? And I would say my day job, not really. I mean, it's a great job. It's super easy and very simple, but it doesn't necessarily reflect my core values. However, that is the reason that I started my blog and YouTube, and I'm creating all this content so that I can really do the things that line up with my core values, and I can do the things that God's really put on my heart to do. Question number 2. What mistakes did I make this year and what lessons did I learn? Okay, I think there were a ton of mistakes, but I wrote down 3 big ones. So the first mistake is giving to others at the expense of myself. I really realized that self-care is not selfish, and it took people like literally just not caring and making it very clear through their actions that I wasn't cared for and that I wasn't respected and that I'm not valued. That was so hurtful, but it was such a good lesson to learn. And that from that, I learned I have to take care of myself, because no one else is going to take care of me, no matter how great of a friend they are, no matter even if we're family. Like, I love my siblings and I love my nieces and nephews, but the truth is, like, they're not going to take care of me like how I can take care of me, you know? So yeah, great lesson to learn. The second lesson was, or my second mistake was poor financial management, which I kind of just told you about, but that was mistake number 2. And my lesson was, just because I'm debt free doesn't mean that I should stop managing my finances. I kind of was like, I'm debt free, woohoo, I'll just do whatever. And it really, like, money is something that has to be told what to do. Otherwise, it's energy that will just flow away. It was such a good lesson to learn, and I'm so happy that it is in my noggin. My third mistake was buying my car. And what I learned from that is that it is so important for us to be intentional with the things that we purchase, with our time, with our life in general. It is really important that we are intentional. When we're intentional, we truly can live the life that we want to live. And when we're not intentional, we kind of get stuck in just meh, you know? Why be stuck in meh? No. I want to live an amazing and incredible life. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. The third question and final question for this section. What do you love most about your job? So my day job, I love meeting new people. It is super interesting driving all over the city and meeting so many different people and being able to glean wisdom from random people, being able to engage in really interesting discussions and being able to learn a lot of new things from so many different people is something that I really enjoy doing. And as far as with my businesses, I like creating things that help people, and I like creating things that generate income. I really love creating, but I also enjoy generating income because it means that I'm bringing something of value to the world, and it makes me so happy. All right, well, that was wonderful. These are the questions for 2021 reflection and review. As I mentioned earlier, there is a longer list of questions. If you would like to download it, you can. It's a free PDF that's on my website. The link is in the description box below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
No, 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 yeah. Cuando dices que me quieres